Hello, good morning, friends. I'm sure that you are enjoying this period because in this COVID 19 situation, we all are aware of maintaining our physical, mental, and social health. I'm also sure that you are enjoying various educational videos sitting at home and you are just making yourself update. In the series of Module 4 of Unit 4 of our syllabus of BSc first year, we are studying the various families, and in this series, we are studying very important families. One of the important families, uh, economically important also, that is Poaceae. So, in this video, we will study very typical and characteristic features of this family Poaceae. You can see actually the distribution of the Poaceae, if you see on this earth, actually it occurs everywhere. That's we called as cosmopolitan in distribution. If you talk about this family, it is usually called grass family, and it is one of the largest angiospermic families because it consisting of about 620 genera and 6000 species. If we talk about India, we are also having 850 species of members of this family Poaceae. And because as I told you that they are cosmopolitan and occur everywhere on this earth, it means that all the forms, ecological forms, like they are hydrophytes, some of them are xerophytes, some of them are mesophytes, and most of the crop plants which particularly gives us cereals, they are belonging to the Poaceae. Now let us we take the further way. If we talk about general characters, try to understand. Essentially, as a Poaceae, members of Poaceae, they show some typical character which make them distinguished from the rest of the families. These are said to be general characters or characteristic feature of Poaceae. What are those? That out of this large number of species, mostly they are herbs. Very rarely, like Bambusa, like one or two families or one or two species of that, they are growing taller. But mostly they are herbs. Their stem is jointed. Yes, it is fistular, cylindrical. And in members of Poaceae, the stem is very properly distinguished into nodes and internodes. There are clear-cut demarcation at the nodes and then there are internodes. If we talk about their leaves, essentially they are simple, no compound leaves. They are alternate, one leaf present at each node, and there is no stalk as such. But they are having very long sheath that we called as sheath leaf base. The leaves are ligulate, yeah, a very special type of structure present at the base of that leaf where it attaches to the stem is called ligule. I will show it when we will see the diagram. That is another important feature of this family. If we talk about inflorescence, it is a very complex and compound type of spike inflorescence. Yeah, in different types of members, different types of arrangement may be there in this in case of spike, but inflorescence is spike. The flowers are essentially zygomorphic, they are hypogynous, and each flower is being protected by pallia and lemma. In some cases there are only pallia, in some cases there are pallia and lemma. These are called as a bract. Then if we talk about each flower, accessory whorl being represented by perianth. Okay, so instead of calyx and corolla, in the members of family Poaceae, we are having perianth. They are two or three sometime. They are very dried, scale-like. Okay, and therefore they are called as lodicules. If we talk about stamens, as a plant belonging to the monocot, it's a tetramerous flower and therefore stamens are three with anthers attached to the filament at just point so that it can swing along with the flowing air, therefore it is versatile. If talk about gynoecium, there is only one carpel, so monocarpellary. If you see the style, it is a simple, and there are about two styles sometime, and then stigma, it is a feathery as it has to capture the pollen grains brought with the help of wind. Then if we take the section of the ovary, we will see that ovule is arising from the base that we call basal placentation. The fruit is very typical, caryopsis. Yeah, it is a dry indehiscent type of fruit where the seed coat called testa and the fruit wall called pericarp they are adhered to each other permanently, and their common wall is called as uh, hull. That is another important feature of that member of the family. So these are very important general character you have to remember when we have to explain the vegetative and reproductive character. Don't forget to mention this particular character. This is the systematic position of Poaceae. Of course, it is a plant belonging to the Plantae, Phanerogamum, Angiospermae, and most important is Monocotyledone. Yeah, it belonging to in our syllabus we have to talk only one family of the class Monocotyledone. As you know that what are the characteristic feature of monocot? That the roots, adventitious root system is present. If we talk about the leaves, parallel venation is present on the leaves. If we talk about the seed, only one cotyledon is there. If we talk about flower, then it is a trimerous. It means the floral members are in the multiple of 3. That's another important feature we will come to know when we will discuss some of the examples in it. So this is very important. And then order Poales, and then family Poaceae. Earlier this family was named as Gramineae, but according to the modern rules of ICBN, we are using it the name Poaceae. Now if we talk about vegetative character, essentially the members of this particular family, they are herbs, they are annuals or perennials. Annuals, like you know that mostly our crop plants like wheat and jowar, they are annual, while there are certain perennials like bamboo. Sometimes they are shrubs, or sometimes they are tree like bamboo or dendrocalamus. They are perennial and growing taller than that. Being a member of monocotyledonous plant, roots are adventitious. They are very fibrous, very hairy, sometimes branch or largely branch, fasciculated or stilt root. Particularly, stilt roots are present in the plants which grows taller, and they are having weak stem which is said to be culm, and to give the support from some lower nodes, some unbranched roots are developed. They penetrates into the soil and hold soil firmly to give mechanical support. So stilt root, presence of stilt root is another important feature of this particular family. These are some of the pictures of the family. You can have to notice it. Adventitious root system, then the stem grows upright, and then you can see clear cut nodes and internode. At each node leaves are being produced. Then at the tip there is a inflorescence, is a spike, and then this is the spikelate, and in the spikelate there are present some flowers. This is a very typical leaf, and leaf base, we can see this particular sheathing leaf base covers, encircles the internodal region. Then the lamina expands, it is having parallel venation, you can see here, and then this is the ligulate structure which prevent the entry of water into that. So these are some of the diagram which makes your ideas clear about that. These are some more diagrams that you have to draw in your examination and your journal also. These are called line sketches, where you can see this is the habit or flowering twig, inflorescence, then stem, and this is the leaf. Here you can see the flower, particular typical flower. This is some of the diagrams. This is the spikelet. We will discuss all these things in much more detail. Excuse me. Then let me go talking about vegetative characters. In that we have to talk about stem. Stem is underground rhizome in all perennial grasses. Yeah. In case of grasses, the stem runs along the ground and brings about vegetative propagation. It is a cylindrical stem, culm, and you know that culm, what is culm? When it is divided into nodes and internodes, sometimes it is hollow inside, that we call with conspicuous nodes and internodes. Internodes are hollow, yeah, that's why it is called culm. Herbaceous, sometimes woody in case of some of the older bamboos. Then glabrous or glaucous, they are very shiny, having no hairs on them. Then vegetative shoots are arising from the base of the aerial stem or from underground stems. They are called as runners. Yeah, they are having the runners. Here you can also see the stem. Here it is an internode, here it is a node, internode and node, and at each node you can observe that some aerial adventitious roots are being produced. So these are the fibrous adventitious roots. So from this we can also see roots and stem. Then if we talk about leaves, what you observe, that one leaf is produced at each node, and therefore the leaf is said to be alternate. The lamina is expanded, it's simple. Then dicticus exstipulate, sessile having no long stalk, ligulate. So this is the ligule. It's a hairy structure present at the base of the lamina which prevent the entry of water inside this sheath or lip base. The lip base is forming tubular sheath. Sheath is open. It is of course encircle about 95% part, but sometime somewhere it is open. It is surrounding internode completely. Ligule is present at the junction of the lamina and the sheath. The leaf is said to be entire, hairy, it is rough, then linear, is growing long, then lamina, these margins are entire, then they are having a very prominent midrib, and all the venations they are running parallel to the midrib, and therefore it's called as parallel venation. So leaf is very typical in grass family in the Poaceae. Now we will focus on the inflorescence, friends. Inflorescence is to be compound spike, which may be sessile or it may be stalk. Sometimes this spike is having very long stalk or sometimes not. Each unit of inflorescence is called spikelets. Yeah, one is called spikelet. One, two, many spikelets, they are arranged on a common or rachis, we can say rachila, that is also called in case of spikelets. So one or two or many spikelets are arranged on a common axis that we called as spike. Now each spikelet, if we talk about each spikelet, what you observe? That each spikelet, now this is the one spikelet, but it is not open properly, okay. It is arranged in a various ways on the main axis called rachila. So the axis of that spikelet is called rachila, and a compound inflorescence may be of spikelet in case of triticum, or you can see here they are the series or group of spikelets in case of Avena sativa. Okay, this is the spikelet. The spikelet consisting of short axis, as I told earlier, is called rachila, and on that rachila one to many sessile or sometime very short stalk flowers are born. That because the flowers are very small, they are called as florets. These florets on the rachila, they are arranged in an alternate manner or opposite manner, exactly opposite to each other on the central axis. At the base of rachila, two sterile scales are called, they are called glooms. So inside the glooms, actually there is one common axis that we call rachila, and these very bigger glooms, they are covering all this inflorescence axis called rachila. On them, on the rachila inflorescence axis, there are present one, two or many florets arranged in an alternate and opposite manner. The glooms are placed one above the other like this. One is outside side, one is inner side, okay, in opposite side. The lower one is called as first gloom and the upper one is called as second gloom. They are upper one and the smaller one, okay. Both the glooms are boat shaped and they are sterile, having no function known. Of course they are having protection. Above the glooms, a series of florets are present. Each floret, now let me talk about floret, a single small flower, has an inferior pallia or lemma, okay, and above it is a superior pallia. The lemma frequently bears a long stiff hair called on. Actually here it is not being properly shown, but each floret is having pallia and lemma, okay. Then here you can also see in this particular diagram, here it is a ovary, okay, and these are the small laudicules. They are very scaly brown color structures, okay. They are being represented by they are actually the perianth and represented by laudicules. Then you can see the styles are two. Stigma is very long and feathery, like feathers, like hairy structures, because it can easily capture the pollen grains being carried with the help of wind. Then you can see 1, 2 and 3 stamens. Usually stamens come out of the pallia and lemma so that they can easily swing and can pollinate the pollen grains, okay. So it's a very typical structure of the flower. This is the description. The flower, each flower is bracteate because two bracts are there, and bracteolate, yeah, bracteoles are also there. It is sessile. It is incomplete because calyx, corolla are not present. Instead, perianth is present. Hermaphrodite, okay, bisexual. But in case of Z maize, okay, that is maize, it is a unisexual flower. That's what you have to understand. Okay. Then if we talk about the uh, flower, it is a hypogynous, it is a cyclic. The arrangement of is like that, the cyclic way. Okay. Then okay, we were talking about the flower, and I was telling you it's a zygomorphic, hypogynous and cyclic. The perianth, yeah, the accessory wall is represented by perianth, which is represented by membranous scales called lodicules. The lodicules are situated above the opposite, the superior pallia, or maybe present or many, two or three in their number. That's what you have to understand here. Actually, the different types of plants are having different types of arrangement. That's what we have to understand. In this diagram, you can see these are the glumes, then these are the pallia, here these are the lodicules, then these are the stamens, this is the gynoecium. That's what we have to understand. Here it is a stamen, filament which is attached. Here some of the cases, here it is a connective, but in versatile arrangement the filament is attached from here to here, and therefore I can show you that we called as a versatile arrangement. Okay, suppose if it is a bilobed anther like this, and the bilobed anther, it is being attached here at the back side, just point by a single point, and therefore it can move in all directions along with the swinging air. That's we called as versatile arrangement. We'll see it later. Then if we talk about androecium, 3 stamens, rarely 6 in case of bambusa and oryza, means in rice, oryza sativa, and 1 in various species of Androstis, Lepturus, Polyandrus, sometime only 1. Filament is usually very long because it has to come out of the spikelate for taking out the anthers outside the spikelate so that they can easily disperse their pollen grains. Anthers are diathecous, they are versatile. As I told you that versatile arrangement, what is that? They are linear, they are extros, yeah, opening is outside, because in most of the cases the pollination is cross pollination, it brought about with the help of wind, and therefore anemophilous. Pollen grains are essentially dry, they are light in weight and can easily be carried with the help of wind. Gynoecium is monocarpellary. According to some authors, carpels are 3, of which 2 are abortive. Okay, this is also another important proposition of some of the authors we have to also understand. Ovary is superior, it is unilocular with a single ovule. Placentation is basal. Style is short or sometimes absent. Stigmas, they are featheries, or they are sometimes sprayed, and they are branched, and because of their hairy structure they can easily catch the pollen grains. Okay, then if we talk about fruit, it is very typical that we call caryopsis, akin with pericarp, completely united or adherent with the seed coat. Rarely nut. In case of Dendrocalamus, it is nut, and in case of Bambusa, it is berry. It's very rarely, but the common feature of this particular family is caryopsis fruit. Here you can see that the grain, if you talk about grain of any jawar or wheat, in fact it is a fruit, it is not a seed, because the fruit wall called pericarp and the seed wall, seed testa, that we call testa, they get compounded and forming the common wall we call hull. Seed endospermy, large amount of endosperm, starch endosperm is being stored in it, containing single cotyledon called scutellum, which is shield shaped and present against the endosperm. This is the floral formula: zygomorphic, bisexual, perianth. You can see sometimes no perianth, no lodicules, or sometimes two, they are called lodicules. Androecium 3, stamens are free. Then sometime it may be 6, very rarely. Gynoecium, monocarpellary, syncarpous, ovaries superior. This is the floral formula. You are very aware of this floral formula. Here the bract and outer lodicules and the 3 stamens and gynoecium all being shown here. Here 2 structures that you have to notice, they are outer bracts, you have to understand. Okay, so economic importance, if we talk about economic importance of this family, definitely it is a very great economic importance. Triticum aestivum, that we call wheat, Oryza sativa, that we call rice, maize, jaw or Hordeum vulgare, sorghum vulgare, jawar, Avena sativa, oats, then bajra. All these are the cereals, and you can say the staple food of the world, and they are belonging to the poise. That's what you can understand how economically important this family is, and therefore much more research in agricultural field is being performed on this particular family members. Then fodder, yeah, cyanodon, dactylon, panicum, Symbopogon, all these are the fodder grasses. Then sugar like Saccharum officinarum, which is giving us sugar and good. The building material, bamboo particularly. Then various species of bambusa, they are used for that thatching the huts and scaffoldings. Then various types of furnitures, Dendrocalamus like that. Then these different species are used for making the furniture. There are certain aromatic grasses which produce scented oils like khas. You can see the name member of this perfumery which is used here, Vetiver zizanoides, then khas that we called. Then ginger grass is there. Then Symbopogon citratis, lemongrass we called as. Then Symbopogon martini and Symbopogon javaranancosa. These yield the oil that we call aromatic oil. Then there are certain plants which are medicinal in purpose. Then sickle cereal is cultivated, and inflorescence of Claviceps purpurea for produce ergot for the extraction of ergotin. And as you know that ergotin is an excellent remedy for uterine contraction. Then paper meal, grasses and bamboos are there. There are certain ornamental plant. Okay, fine lawns and playgrounds, we are growing certain types of grasses. They are very useful in developing the lawns and the grounds of the sports. Beside that, if we talk about this particular family, we will talk about its primitive characters. A few are arboreal in habit. Arboreal means larger, taller one, like trees, but mostly they are herbs. All florets in spikelet are fertile, blooms are persistent, lemmas are herbaceous and leafy, stigma are 3, leaves are simple and alternate, flowers are hypogynous and hermaphrodite. These are, and seeds are endospermic. These are said to be the primitive character of this family. And advanced character includes that mostly plants are herbaceous, annual and perennial, leaves are exstipulate, yeah. Flowers are arranged in a distinct inflorescence. Flowers are very small, inconspicuous and zygomorphic. They are unable to see from the distance. They are inconspicuous. They are not colorful. Parent is represented by lodicules. Stamens are reduced to 3. The number is reduced. Gynoecium is monocarpal and unilocular. Basal placentation. Fruit is caryopsis. Seeds are very small size so that they are easily dispersed. And this is the reason that the monocots and particularly members of monocot family Poaceae, they are distributed wide on the earth, and this is the beauty of this particular family. Some of the questions being asked on this particular is describe vegetative and floral characters of the family Poaceae, inflorescence, then economic importance of this family, floral structure of the family Poaceae, and the floral diagram and floral formula. These are very important structures. Friends, for your observation and again to make it study, I have just uploaded it on my YouTube channel, and therefore you have to subscribe my YouTube channel, Dr. Sunil Modok's YouTube channel for Bio DNA. Yes, it is a DNA I'm just going to analyze for USEF. And if you like it, you please press the button of like. You please comment, because it's an open discussion we need to do. Subscribe channel so that you will get the notification of my next video. So with this I conclude. I am sure that you would have enjoyed this. If you want furthermore explanation regarding some of the aspect of this particular family, you can please put up the comment. With this I conclude. Thank you very much, friends. We'll meet once again later. Thank you. Bye.